Well, sure has been a while since I've been here, huh, hasn't it? Welcome to Let's Play Sonic Mania. A game that I technically already have more or less fully done on my channel before. This is going to be a bit of a first for me, because I streamed this game on launch day, way back in 2017. It's been 7 years since then. A lot has mentally changed for me. So it's like, while I do have, like, you know, the full blind playthrough experience on my channel through a stream VOD, there's the awkward sentiment of, like, number one, like, if I want to Let's Play a game, I'm going to Let's Play a game, and it's gonna be how it is, especially since, like, Let's Plays are, like, sort of how I formally, like, play through games and stuff like that. And Sonic, there's a weird portion of a couple of Sonic games that I already fully have playthroughs on my channel, but, like, I want to, like, experience them in a more formal light than, like, the kind of wonky, just chilling out stream vibes. I don't know. So there is that, but there's also, like, I've done plenty of games on my channel before that are, like, Let's Plays of games that I've already played before. Now, there is the new Encore Mode DLC. I don't think I'm going to be playing that for the Let's Play, just because it's a little too different for what I want a Let's Play of the game to be. So, this is my playthrough of the actual from the stream back in the day, and this was a personal playthrough I did like a couple months after that I never finished. So I haven't played the game since then. There's plenty of characters you can play as, including Mighty the Armadillo and Ray the Flying Squirrel, who got added in the Encore DLC. But regardless, I'm just gonna play the game as is naturally, and so that'll be that. So it's like, I'm just like, it's Sonic Mania. If you want, for one thing, like, the game's already kind of pretty basic in general. It's a classic Sonic game that is as classic as it's trying to be. So, like, there's not a whole lot of, like, things to really discuss. But then, even in the case of, like, say, just what's going on, I don't know, like, it's pretty self-evident. People know Sonic Mania at this point. You don't need me to, like, be like, hey, this is what Sonic Mania is. It's a sort of Generations-esque game that tries to be, like, its own it's a new classic Sonic game that's, like, not just, I don't know, you know what it is. It's Sonic Mania. Reuses old zones, remixes them, yada yada yada. Green Hill, Back from the Dead. Everybody missed it. Everybody missed it. I don't know. I'm being mimetic here. It's weird for me to be, like, engaging with a Sonic game at all right now. Because, to an extent, I have not been in a Sonic mood lately, which is a far cry from the previous 2 times I've played Green Hill Zone in a Let's Play on my channel. That's a reference to the kinds of things I would usually say back in the, like, because the reason why I originally would play Sonic 1 back in the day was like, oh, I'm in a big Sonic mood lately, and then when I did Sonic Generations and replayed Green Hill Zone and was, like, referencing all the stuff I used to say in the original videos, I just referenced, oh yeah, so I quoted myself being like, oh, I'm still in a Sonic mood lately, and it's like, ever since, basically what I would say is that the game's kind of burned me, I have not really, Sonic as a franchise has just kind of like, really significantly burned out on me. And it's kind of like just disappointing almost in a sense, but like, I've talked about it in a couple of other Let's Plays on my channel, but like, in like Metroid Zero Mission and Tori 3 and Tori 2, but like, it's like, there's other situations to like, this, like, considering it's about Sonic, it feels like it's relevant to bring up here again. So like, there's a sense of like, the issue is that Sonic, it used to be something that I really loved, and now it's just so much harder to love it now. And that's just kind of the way it feels for me. If you still love Sonic, awesome, cool, great. But the thing for me is that after Sonic Forces came out, and like a long time was spent with that, like the game, Sonic just kind of started to feel like there was much less to love for me. With what I loved, I grew up with Sonic in the Adventure era. You know? Sonic Adventure 2 was my jam. And even if, like, I never really played too much more than that, that's the Sonic that really vibes with me. A Sonic that is a little more story-oriented, a little more world-like focused. Enjoying, like, that sort of consistency and, like, there's a vibe there for me. Trying to figure out how to get to that giant ring while I talk through this. There's a vibe there with me that's like, that's what I like in Sonic. That's where I gravitate towards. That's the stuff that I'm interested in. So, when Sonic started to become much more of a, what I would describe it as, is as a franchise, with Sonic becoming much more of a franchise, where specifically Tails, there's a way I can, like, fly with you, right? Maybe not. There we go. So, like, after Sonic Forces basically just, like, it failed to deliver what it promised. I've been a lot more wary of, like, just everything that it exists as a franchise, and, like, other games as well. And basically the point is, that I'm trying to make is that, like, I don't have franchise loyalty to this anymore. Like, I will play what interests me, and that's fine. But if Sonic isn't going to appeal to the parts of me that I, like, actually want to see in a Sonic game, more of a consistent world and characters, more of a consistent, like, playbook, then I'm not going to care that much. I'm not going to care about, like, a new Sonic game, essentially. If it's not going to appeal to me, just because it's Sonic, I'm not going to get into it. And, like, because of that mentality, and other games as well, other franchises doing similar things, where it's like, you're a new game in a franchise, but you're not hitting the appeal to me that I want to see in this series. You're not really, like, you're not what I want out of a new experience for this game. Then it's like, okay, well, then I don't care anymore. I'm not just going to play your game simply because you're a new Sonic title. I'm gonna play your game because I want to play it. So, just because it's Sonic doesn't mean necessarily that I'm going to enjoy and love a game or even care about the game existing. And that's kind of true for... To me, that's kind of true for most games right now. A new Pikmin game comes out, I'm not going to be like, ooh, you're a new Pikmin game, I have to play you. It's more so like... If it's a Pikmin game that interests me, then sure. But, like, things basically need to prove that they can be of interest to me. Otherwise, I'm not just going to accept them at face value, is the point that I'm trying to make. That flower is cut off. Congratulations to Ed. So, that's all I'm really trying to get at, really, is just that, like, if I'm not interested in something, I'm not going to force myself to be interested in it just because, oh, it's from game series that I like. Everything individually on its own has to still feel, on some level, like it's appealing to me. And that is, to an extent, why Sonic has lately been so to me. Because, like, there's been very few games, like, since Mania came out, and I'd say since around 2017 in Mania, I was way big on Sonic. And, like, just genuinely really into it in every capacity. But then, since then, it's been Forces, and discounting remakes like Colors Ultimate, which are Fish Sonic. Putting aside remakes and compilations and all that stuff, like, the only Sonic content we've really gotten has been Sonic Forces, which felt like a massive disappointment that was basically a marketing ploy. Like, oh, look at all these returning characters, look at all this stuff that is gonna be in this game. And then it's like, oh, but actually, no, it's not really like that at all. We're gonna advertise it like it's Colors and Generations level design because, ooh, it's from the creators of Colors and Generations, but, like, then all the level design is pathetic and simplistic and unengaging. And then, like, ooh, we're gonna bring back all these villains and it's gonna have a really engaging story, and then it's, like, basically really bland and pathetically told and just embarrassing in general. Like, are there flicky panels here? Only in the original? Here they are. That's the only reason I was being cautious. Mania obviously brings back some level designs from previous games. This is Sonic 2. I've played Chemical Plant Zone more than enough, and I know the level design that they're referencing here. It's very infamous. I've fallen down that pit multiple times. I'm not falling down it again. Anyways, point is, Forces basically felt like a marketing scheme where it was basically more trailer bait than like actual game content. And so after that, I was just kind of like, man, I don't want to get fooled by that again. And then, what else came out since then? Frontiers, which was basically the same thing, and... well, if you ask me at least, it was basically the same thing. And then also... Superstars, which I didn't even get. Because I care very little about classic-style things, I say as I play a classic-style Sonic game. But, like, classic-style Sonic games are fine and fun, but it's like, to me, 2D Mario versus 3D Mario. They can both still be fun enough, but I really care about 3D Mario. That's where my vibe is, because, like, when it comes to 2D, like, there's this weird vibe in gaming where a lot of companies will put as much focus on a 2D game at times. Like, not that, like, they don't care about the quality of the 2D game, but, like, if you compare something like, say, Mario Wonder versus Mario Odyssey, it's kind of clear which one is, like, feels a little more, like, legitimate and, like, trying to be more engaging than just a series of levels, you know? Mario Odyssey is at least trying to be a little bit more like its own worlds, case may be. Whereas Mario Wonder, for as neat as the game is still more or less just a series of New Super Mario Bros. Levels, just visually much nicer. Like, if you think about putting aside, like, any preconceptions you might have about New Super Mario Bros. And Mario Wonder, like, if you ignore the visual style of Mario Wonder, it's basically just a New Super Mario Bros. Game. That's what it is. It's a New Super Mario Bros. Game that looks really nice and feels more original, which is valid, but it plays like a New Super Mario Bros. Game. The level design is like a New Super Mario Bros. Game. It's a New Super Mario Bros. Game in all but appearance and name. And that's fine, because the New Super Mario Bros. Games are well designed, the issue people have with them is how generic they feel. So you take a New Super Mario Bros. Game's design philosophies and make it feel less generic with unique visuals and, like, power-ups and all that jazz, and it's like, yeah, people will eat that shit up, and people did. People liked Sonic. Well, people like Sonic Mania, too. People like Mario Wonder, and that's great for them. I didn't finish it, because I just kind of got bored of it, but, like, it's my thing, not really necessarily... I don't know. I'll come back to Mario Wonder eventually. But this isn't about Mario Wonder anyway, this is about Sonic. My whole vibe with that is that, like, it's like, it's really hard to put into words, especially when I'm playing a game at the same time. But there is this vibe that, like, the reason why I didn't care about Sonic's... It also does not help that, like, Sega has these, like, really annoying, like, restrictions, which is another part of why, like, so much about Sonic has, like, kind of downshifted to me, because, like, I really like the world of Sonic. I like the consistency and coherency it always had back in the day of, like, the Adventure era, where it felt like characters were actually characters and they would evolve and change and grow and, like, be characters and be a world that had consistency, and all that ended after Sonic 06, basically. And so it's like, yeah. It sucks, but what are you gonna do, I guess? I don't know. I'm probably gonna focus, because now these special stages are getting a little tougher, so it's, like, better to try and make sure that I don't waste my opportunity here. I am gonna go for the best ending, because, like, I've done it before, I've gotten all the special stages before, and I know that even if I get to the end of the game without Super Sonic, I can pretty easily, technically, cheese my way into it like I did in my original playthrough. Now I just need to catch up to the Emerald, so I'm not gonna be talking too much. I'm pretty good on time though, so I'm not really like super worried. I'm just like, it's all about like catching up, more or less. I don't know. Have I shown all these before? I don't remember how many of these I even got back in the day. I might not have gotten any of them, so this might actually be genuinely new content compared to like the original stream I did of this game. So that's neat, I suppose. I like these special stages. They're probably my favorite in the franchise. And there we go. Okay, I can return to what I was talking about, which was just... So, like, Frontiers was like a nail in the coffin, but it really is just kind of like the vibe. It's like... I think what it comes down to is that... franchise and branding does not make for good stories. Does that make sense? Like, in the case of Sonic, it means that, like, the characters of Sonic always have to maintain a status quo. Characters can't, like, easily change and become, like, engaging. The world can't change massively. Like, things have to sort of stay very similarly. So, like, to that extent, it's like, because there is such a distinct vibe of, like, I don't know, it's really hard to say. It's... because Sonic is less concerned about, like, being a consistent world nowadays, and is just doing whatever it wants to in each individual experience, it makes it feel way less fleshed out. And to me, it's like, because of that, and it's losing the inherent appeal to me of what made Sonic appealing, was that, like, the world and characters were a large part of that for me. It wasn't just... It wasn't just that you were playing a fun series of platforming games, but it was that you were playing a series of fun platforming games as Sonic. Which is why I feel like there's these other, like, games that are trying to recreate Sonic, like Spark the Electric Jester, can't live up to that because they just aren't Sonic inherently. They can recreate the gameplay, sure, fine. But they will never be Sonic as a world and as a character. They will have to be their own thing, and so as a result, there is just that element of disappointment of, like, you're not Sonic, so I want to see Sonic back. And to me, Sonic is more than just the gameplay, which is the fun thing about games, is that, like, any game can always, like, compared to, like, a movie or a book or anything like that, any other sort of media, games are so, like, unique to, like, the player in regards to, like, what they're able to get out of it, you know? And that's really cool with games. So, like, my stance on Sonic is not something that is unique to oh, well, no, it is unique, is the point. It's something special to me. It's my vibe with Sonic. It's what I like and get out of Sonic. And that, in and of itself, is cool and appreciated. So, like, what I get out of Sonic doesn't have to be the same as what everybody else gets out of Sonic, and if people care more about the gameplay, awesome, props to them. If people really like Frontiers, cool. I'm glad you got something out of the game that I didn't. I massively hated that fucking game. And so, like, my general point is just that, like, because Sonic is more than just a game to me, he's, like, he is a character, that means that I also look to things like, say, for instance, the IDW comics. And other material, like spin-offs material and whatnot. And so you get things like Sonic Prime that I just kind of gave up on because it felt super generic and uninteresting, so I watched Season 1 and never bothered to come back for Season 2 or 3. It wasn't really appealing to me. And you have the IDW comics, which, as fun as they are, like, really kind of show in the long run just how damaging, like, the lack of world really is for the lack of storytelling, because everything that happens in IDW comics, I just look at it and go, why do I even care? Because, like, I like the characters, sure, Tangle and Whisper are cool, they're just neat, there's, like, interesting ideas, but what does any of it actually matter in the long run? Is, like, the vibe that I get. Even if there's, like, this weird sense of dubious canonicity to it, because, like, of Angle getting a random name drop in Sonic Frontiers that makes no sense, but it's there now. And so it's like, okay, this is a thing. And, like, you got this sense of, like, because the world is so, like, ill-defined, because, like, they're afraid to, like, really go all deep into it. I don't know. The world in Sonic is just not well-defined, and it really comes to a head in, like, the whole Metal Virus saga of that game, because, like, not game, comic, because, like, the comic just had no world to build off of, so, like, there were elements of, like, characters being interesting, sure, but, like, it was, even for the characters, it was kind of hard to really, like, get a grasp for it all, because it's like, well, what versions of the characters are you? What have you experienced? What's canon? What matters and what doesn't? So it's just this awkward thing. I don't know. It didn't work too well, is my point. I should be able to catch up to this guy pretty easily now. Alright, 4 special stages down. I'm doing pretty well on those, all things considered. Haven't missed yet, probably will miss next time. Either way, the point that I'm saying is that they're fun. It's fun. I'm not saying I like the IDW comics, but, like, the world building is just lacking, and, like, that matters a lot to me and a lot to, like, the storytelling vibes that I want to get out of it. And so, like, the vibe I constantly have is that, like, while they're fun, they don't matter that much. And as a result, I'm just not as engaged as I feel like I could or would want to or should be with that sort of thing. And that is why I'm disappointed, and why I've slowly been kind of being like, does it matter? Should it matter? And the age-old Sonic, it doesn't matter. Now what happens? All that jazz. Yada yada yada. And so it's like, to that extent, in the end, my ultimate vibe is just, I do want it to matter. I do want to feel like I care about Sonic again. But the things that Sega is caring about are not the things that I am caring about. And so that just creates this, like, awkward sense of, like, well, I guess I don't care until they start caring about what they care about with me. And people like what Sega is caring about, and that's fine. They're allowed to do that. Oh, this fucker. How do you do this again? Not like that. I'm gonna stop talking so I can focus and not fail this, because this guy is really obnoxious. Mostly just jumping over these missiles. Problem. Doop-a-doop-doop-doop. Yeah, good on you, Tails. Take that hit for me. I'm still just a ball. It hasn't uncurled me yet, so I'll just stay here. Okay. Got hit at the end, but I'll take it. Considering I remember having a lot of struggles with that guy before, I'll take a first try victory with no rings. Moving on. Back to the conversation at hand. I just care a lot about World. That's what I care about. And, like, you can argue, oh, Sonic Frontiers should have been that for you, shouldn't it have? And I mean, it tried a little bit, but, like, I don't know if I don't know if I would consider what Sonic Frontiers did to be, like, good writing. A story that mattered. I guess time will tell. But I just have a hard time feeling like it matters or will impact anything. I mean, like, that's why, partially, I'm not really interested in, like, the classic vibe or, like, Sonic Superstars, because, like, even if the gameplay is fun, it's like, what does it matter if, like, somebody, like, for instance, Trip, the new character for that game, like, she's not gonna impact a goddamn thing in the Sonic franchise. Like, when was the last time a character got introduced who actually had a lasting impact? Like, to anything, who wasn't just a fun, like, oh, this game is gonna include this now. Like, cause that's Mario behavior is the thing. That's like Flood, that's like Happy, it's like, yeah, they're neat gimmicks for a single game. Sure, whatever. But that's not what I want out of Sonic. I don't want Mario out of Sonic. Time was, back in Sonic, that a character would introduce and they would have a lasting impact. People would remember them. People would care about them. They would do things in the franchise. Even characters like introduced from non-Sega companies would show up in actual fully produced Sega games. Lest we forget that Cream the Rabbit was created by Dimps in Sonic Advance 2 before showing up in Sonic Heroes. And even Blaze, before she kind of got weirdly retconned and then back retconned. Like, she got retconned in Sonic 06 for her backstory and then got weird back retconned into what she was before for Rush Adventure. Point is, she was created for Sonic Rush, which was made by Dimps. And even if it's a Sega subsidiary, it's like, I don't know. I don't actually know, like, the whole point of what Dimps is, but, like, my point is that, like, time was getting a new character in the franchise meant something, because, like, it could feel like they would have a tangible impact, or at least have a story that mattered in some level, or could impact the characters. And even if Trip does have, like, a little bit of a story, I'm not going to pretend like, oh, some Superstars has no story or no character whatsoever. I'm not that, like, cynical. My point is that, like, because there's, like, this weird, like, split in, like, what makes Sonic Sonic, like, if you're not into classic Sonic, and, like, what guarantees Trip is ever going to, like, matter for anything, you know? Like... Well, that was weird. Like, there's a split between, like, classic Sonic and modern Sonic, so it's like... Trip's never gonna show up in a modern context, in the world that matters to me. There's, like, 2, 3, 4 fucking worlds for Sonic the Hedgehog. And they're all, like, trying to coexist at once. It's really split and awkward, and it's like... I don't know. In the end... Well, this boss is really easy with a bubble shield. Okay. Anyways, it's been about 40 minutes. I probably shouldn't just keep going on and on and on and on and on. So, do I have a conclusion to what I was trying to say? As I get the flying battery? I guess just, yeah, like... Sonic... I like the guy, but, like, the franchise has just not been what I want out of it lately. Especially, like, with world splits and, like, inability to, like, really have the characters feel like characters so much as they feel like brand mascots. And as a result, things have just kind of felt awkward to me, and, like, I've lost interest in a lot of Sonic-y stuff. I'm not playing Sonic Mania necessarily to try and regain that interest, per se. I guess I can talk about that next episode, why I'm playing this game out of nowhere. But I guess in the end, there's just a sense of, like, the point is that if a franchise isn't appealing to you, you don't have to keep loving it. You can love what you used to love. I still like the older Sonic games. I love Sonic 06, I love Sonic Adventure 2 and 1, and I like those games. I like Sonic, but I like what Sonic used to be. I don't like what Sonic currently is, and just because it's taken the name of Sonic the Hedgehog doesn't mean that I have to love it because of that. And it's as simple as that. Franchises don't owe you their loyalty. They have to prove to you, time and time and again, that they are worth continuing to support. And some franchises do that. I love Kirby. I enjoy Mario, but other franchises that, like, people have problems with, like Pokemon, or Sonic the Hedgehog, or Pikmin, for me at least. I don't know, anything. It can be anything. It doesn't have to be a Nintendo franchise. It can be anything. Spyro the Dragon, Crash Bandicoot, Jak and Daxter, I don't know, Metroid, Hollow Knight, I don't know, anything. Literally anything. Dark Souls, Grand Theft Auto, I don't know, I'm just trying to think of franchises now. Like, if something isn't appealing to you, you don't have to love it just because it takes that same name of a thing. You don't have to get it. You don't have, like, I don't know. In the end, that's kind of like my current philosophy, is to, like, think of how things are individually rather than as a franchise, because as a franchise, sometimes things just kind of suck, and you don't have to love them just because they're part of it. It's like saying that you have to love all the Avatar live action, both the movie and the new TV show, because you like Avatar The Last Airbender. Like, no, you don't. You can like the original cartoon without liking anything else. You don't have to like Korra because you like the original cartoon. You can like Korra and dislike the original cartoon. Anything is valid. Just because it's in the same franchise doesn't mean you have to love it. That's the whole point. Franchise loyalty is basically... If franchise loyalty exists, it's because that's what the franchises are trying to do to get your money. Don't just blindly give money because of consumerism. That's all I'm really trying to say. Spend your rings wisely. I don't know. I'm gonna end the episode now. See you guys next time for more Let's Play Sonic Mania, where I will probably ramble about something else.